So in the last episode, you have heard that I have sold my Sigma 30mm f1.4 lens, and as promised, I will share with you guys where I will be replacing the lens from. So stay tuned after this intro video to find out more. Before we get started, let's just put the fish on the table, and that is camera gear in Europe is generally more expensive than Japan. And for you guys who followed me for a period of time, you know that I've relocated from Japan to Denmark, and I just realized that in general, camera gears are much more expensive here. And it's not just an exchange rate issue. We know that Japanese yen has depreciated quite significantly against the several major currencies. But even if you take that take that out of the picture, for example, some of the newest camera gears that Sony has announced, you still see that gap, right? So that massive difference in prices between the same camera or the same lens in Japan versus Europe. So if I just check out the prices, I have it here on my phone. So we know that in Japan, if you go and buy the Sony 11mm f1.8 lens, it is going to cost you somewhere around, I'm going to use Danish kroner because it's easier for direct comparison. It's going to cost you almost 3,000 kroners, right? So that's the price if you buy it in Japan. However, the same lens, that's going to cost you 3,800 kroners. Just the price on Amazon alone shows that there's a 21% gap. And this gap kind of grows even more. So for the same lens, if I buy it in Japan, and currently they do have a campaign going on, so you can actually, if you know someone in Japan, that you can actually leverage on the campaign. I know that they do something similar in Europe as well. So I mean, if you get to do that, then that's great. If you don't, then that's also fine. You still have 21%. But right now, I'm staring at a potential 28% saving. So I could potentially get this lens in the exchange rate today at around 2,440 kroners, again versus 3,400, almost 3,400 kroner in Europe for the same lens. So that's massive, right? So we're talking about almost 1,000 kroner. So that's the 11mm f1.8 lens. But of course, is it just this lens alone that sees this difference? No. So even for a very relatively old lens, such as the Sony 50mm f1.8 lens, again today, if you go to Japan and you try to buy it, it's going to cost you somewhere around 1,450 kroners. But then if you buy the same lens in Amazon Germany, that's going to cost you upwards just over 2,050 kroner, 2,075 kroners. So that's a 29% gap. So buying the same lens in Japan immediately use a 29% price cost saving. So that's massive. But this doesn't only affect the older lens. So even the latest lenses, such as the one from Sigma, so the Sigma 10 to 18mm f2.8 APS-C lens that they have released. So that's a relatively more expensive lens, but if you apply all the discounts and stuff like that, you get approximately 18% in cost savings. So again, it's a massive cost saving for a very new lens, but still you see that there's a significant price gap between Japan and Europe. And this also extends to the camera bodies. So you can also potentially buy your camera bodies in Japan. So for example, the Sony ZV-1 that I have here, if you buy it here in Denmark, that's going to cost you approximately 4,300 kroners. But then if you buy the same camera body in Japan, and it's going to cost you somewhere around 3,600 kroner. Again, a 16% cost saving. If we look at the latest cameras that Sony has released, such as the 6700, the APS-C camera 6700, you will see that in Denmark it's going to cost you almost 12,000 kroner, really expensive. But then in Japan, if you buy the same camera, it's going to cost you only around 8,700 kroners. So 27% cost saving, again, massive. So at this point in time, you might be thinking about buying an air ticket and flying to Japan straight away to buy some camera gear. That sounds really good. I think given that the Japanese yen has depreciated quite a lot against euros, against Danish krona, it seems to make sense to travel there for holidays and buy camera gears. But then if you're thinking about camera bodies, just be aware that in general, when you buy camera bodies in Japan, they are going to come in, especially for Sony, they're going to come in Japanese only. So that's probably something you have to think about. It's really difficult to change the language, so that the settings, the language in the camera. I tried to do it for the Sony ZV-E10. I couldn't find a solution for it. So just keep that in mind. Right, so that's it for today. I just wanted to share with you guys that indeed I will be trying to purchase my 11mm f1.8 lens in Japan, and if the right deal comes along, I will be trying to purchase the Sony 50mm f1.8 OSS lens as well. So let's see, and I'll keep you guys updated. Thanks for watching this video, and if you like this content, do like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.